is computer. Sweet. Okay, and we can go ahead and call this meeting to order.
Indeed.
Sweet. 7:04 p.m. Okay. A brief note about the agenda. We have made a brief little update just because Katerina Scladoni, our treasurer, was not able to make it tonight. So we've taken her update off the agenda and added an item for Dan to give a vice president's update. The update that Katerina would have given is just about her getting up to speed on AIM's financial situation and documents and treasurer related things, and that she's interested in setting up financial control kinds of documents like approvals for payments above a certain threshold types of things, and she's got experience drafting those kinds of things, so we're very, very excited and thankful for her on that. And yeah, the next order of business is approving the past meeting minutes as a block from the July 16th special call meeting of the board, the August 12th admin committee meeting, and the September 9th admin committee meeting. Are there any, all board members in favor say aye?
Aye.
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 All right, the ayes have it. And that takes us to the president's update from Amanda.
Yeah. So not very much to update since the last meeting. The biggest thing we're gonna talk about in terms of an update is that the next challenge for our board is to tackle the back wages for our staff. Katerina is working on finding all the numbers and
just project as loud as you can, by the way.
I don't know if you want as loud as I can.
Yes.
Katerina is working steadily to compile the numbers so that we can make a good estimate on how much money needs to be raised. I think it's a safe bet for the membership and the board to consider that we will not be getting any money. So we need to figure out how we're going to find this money. The more that we try to find money from not Arlington County would be beneficial to, one, our reputation, and two, just moving things along faster. The audit is still in play. So as long as the audit is in play, we are not at a good position to determine whether or not we're going to see any money that was promised to us previously. But we're not going to say no to it. We just need to start thinking about how we can do our own fundraising and see how that works out. The board will talk to the staff directly about the numbers that we're finding. And I don't think I have much other news besides that.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah,
okay.
I would agree. The next item on our agenda is the vice president's update from Dan, speaking to the lease with JBG Smith.
Right. So I'm assuming you guys can hear me. And so just to remind you all, we had the lease for a space that we had never used, and we're able to get out of these with a debt to JBG of about $7,500. So we owe them that money, and I explained to them that that money is it's unclear if it will ever come and it will ever exist. So I gave them options such as if the radio station were to be back or the streaming were to be up, we could potentially provide, we could do some underwriting strategy that they could use that fund on the underwriting budget for the radio and such, or if they wouldn't be willing to write that off and even potentially as a donation. So we've been talking about that, and at this point they're not interested in any of the options, and therefore they will be pursuing the 7,500 that we owe them, and which is of course a debt that the organization has, among many others that are perhaps more urgent.
Right. Thank you so much, Dan, for doing that work. Next item on the agenda is Jennifer talking about the recovery and volunteer committees.
Yes, okay. So I'll start by talking about the recovery committee. The recovery committee has been focused on a few different areas to get our operations up and running again at AIM. While we continue to work on the infrastructure necessary to establish our FM broadcast, we're working towards getting online streaming up and running. As will be dependent upon volunteers to help keep our programming in place, we've made a strategic decision to acquire new automation software that will require less specialized training and ease of use. This small investment will be supported via an AIM member if necessary. So we've narrowed down the field to a few different choices, and it will be acquired by the end of this week or early next week. Based on this, we're tentatively working towards an October 15th go live date. We'll be sending around guidance to our producer community to help us prepare in advance, including any necessary training for our go live within the next couple of weeks. We are bringing on board a volunteer coordinator to help support our efforts to recruit and place volunteer staff members to help maintain AIM operations. Very, very important. I'm very, very excited that she's going to be starting, and she starts on September 16th. Our initial staffing complement will be finalized by the end of next week, and we'll be posting these positions shortly thereafter. A week ago, we sent out a call to action to the AIM community to sign up for one of our volunteer committees. So I'll speak more about that in a minute. That summarizes the current efforts that are underway with the recovery committee. Unless the board members have any questions regarding the recovery committee, I'll move on to the next topic. Okay, so I'd like to provide an update on the progress we've made with our volunteer committees. As you know, we sent out the call to action for these committees a week ago, and I'm pleased to report that as of 3 p.m. today, 6 individuals have stepped forward to volunteer. So here's where we currently stand. Marketing and Communications Committee. We've had 1 volunteer step forward for this committee. More help will definitely be needed to fully develop and execute a marketing strategy. Next, production suite setup. We've got interest here as well. But this committee will likely require more hands-on help, especially given the technical nature of the work. So we'll definitely welcome additional volunteers if they step forward. Training and education. This committee also has a couple of volunteers, but this committee could benefit from more people to assist with creating and delivering training programs. Programming. We have volunteers ready to start, but I hope to get more individuals with experience in media and content creation to step forward here. Fundraising and development. We've had 1 volunteer step forward in this crucial area. This critical committee needs more volunteers, especially those with experience in fundraising, donor relations, and grant writing. We have not yet had anyone step forward for HR and volunteer coordination. This is essential for helping manage and support the volunteer base. We have a primary volunteer coordinator, but she will need assistance. Digital media. There was no specific mention of interest here. So this area might still require volunteers to manage online presence and digital content going forward. In short, while committees have some interest, more volunteers are needed for each committee, especially those focused on fundraising, technical support, and training. In the coming weeks, I'll be working to onboard these volunteers and help launch activities within each committee. If any of the board members would like to help with this process, your assistance would be very welcome. I'll be identifying leadership for each committee based on the volunteers' experience, their level of interest, and their willingness to take on a leadership role. That said, we need to recruit many more volunteers. The 6 we have are a great start, but we'll need more hands to make the committee successful. I could really, really use your help to spread the word. If you have contacts or know of others who would be interested, please encourage them to get involved. I'm also personally going to specifically reach out to those that expressed interest in volunteering earlier this year via the producer survey to request that they sign up for one of our committees. They may assume that because they filled out this survey that we are including them within those committees, but I want to make sure that we have them all capture the same information that we get within this survey. Finally, if any board members are interested in stepping forward to help me get these committees fully launched, please reach out to me directly. I would really appreciate your support in helping these committees hit the ground running. Thank you, and I am happy to answer any questions about that.
I don't think it is a question. It's just a reminder that if I understand this correctly, we aim to be doing something, but we can't afford staff to do those things. So that's why we are looking for those volunteers so we can run the business and be able to put the radio together, hopefully NTV together with the volunteer manpower. And I understand, I think I've heard in past meetings or by, or I can recall where, that this is not a model that is ludicrous or we're not reinventing the wheel. That's actually what happens in other organizations like ours. So, right? That's just for the folks that maybe are not fully aware of what's going on.
Yeah. That is correct. And we'll definitely be having very specific roles that we're going to be filling with key individuals. But these committees are what's needed to get us on the ground running while we work to recruit these specific volunteer roles. So this is really, really crucial for us. I know a lot of people have mentioned that they want to have the ability to volunteer. They want us to have these types of opportunities. So now is the time that I'm hoping that we can get them to step forward and respond to that email. I'm hoping that, if for whatever reason they're not comfortable with filling out the survey, they can reach out to the board of directors, and I'm happy to send them something that they can just fill out on their email, or if they want to hand write something, whatever they want to do, I want to make sure that they get represented. So hoping we get more people to step forward.
All right, are there any further discussion on that matter? Okay, and there will be time for public comment towards the end, like we typically try to do for board meetings. So hold that thought. I'm excited to hear it. On the old business front, the website is currently under maintenance, and so it is very much not working. WERA.FM is still live, but the arlingtonmedia.org website is currently under maintenance. Jackie's got that handled, and we will make sure that things like access to RooShare are shared, like that link for login and stuff is shared appropriately when it's relevant for annual meeting types of things. And we will keep you posted as best we can about the website. That's all with regards to that. Is there any new topics that aren't on the agenda that we need to discuss, or should we move to Jennifer's motion?
I think we're good to move on.
Sweet. Okay. Jennifer, take it away.
All right, so this motion has changed a little bit since I originally put it on the agenda. So this motion is just focused on what the board already has the ability to approve. So that being said, I move that Arlington Independent Media establish a new membership type specifically for volunteer staff members, effective immediately. This membership type will include the following provisions. First of all, eligibility. Any individual who is actively serving as a volunteer staff member for Arlington Independent Media will be eligible for this membership type. Fee waiver. Membership fees will be waived for volunteer staff members while they are actively serving in their volunteer capacity. Number 3, no voting privileges. This membership type will not confer voting privileges. Voting privileges will remain exclusive to regular members who meet the requirements set forth in the existing membership structure. And 4, transition. If a volunteer staff member ceases their service, their membership will convert to a regular membership subject to the payment of membership dues. This new membership type will recognize the contributions of our volunteers by removing the financial barrier of membership fees while maintaining the distinction between voting and non-voting members.
I second. I believe there is no legal issues regarding this amendment in regards to the articles of incorporation and such, right?
It's not an amendment, as I understand it. It is just a clarification that I think has been used in the past with AIM, but we're not doing anything to the bylaws and nothing to the articles of incorporation. It is just establishing another tier of membership.
Yeah, and that is allowed based upon our articles of incorporation.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Sure. Yes.
Okay. So Jennifer has introduced this motion. Zach has seconded it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, aye.
Awesome. Great. Okay. The ayes. There are no nays because these are all the board members present and there is no abstaining. So the ayes have it and the motion passes. Brilliant. Alrighty. Okay. Hooray. That is awesome. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how this new membership class helps engage people with AIM. I know that that is a type of membership that I take advantage of for another professional organization that I'm a part of that volunteer for, and have found that to be really awesome. Yes.
Can I actually,
So sorry,
Jennifer?
behind, but I'm here.
Thank you for being here.
Can you clarify the way that the volunteers will operate within AIM will be that if, for example, there's a lead on a project that lead will have to, one, ask for volunteers and to, sort of, will still be the lead on the project and will sort of help, have the person as other help. It won't be willy-nilly sort of people just walking into things and doing things, even if someone else is working on it.
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to have plan and structure around our volunteers, and the volunteer staff roles will be stepping into those roles as they come on board. But up until then, I'm going to work with my fellow board members and help to identify a lead point person that will help to coordinate the activities of the other volunteers, so that we have a structured plan in place, in addition to regularly reporting to the board of directors on their activities. So all of that kind of structure is going to be really, really important as we move forward.
One other thing is, I'm hoping that we don't lose thread on, we need to collect all volunteer hours. We need to have that data. It's very critical. So.
Yes, and that's going to be one of the things our volunteer coordinator is going to ensure that we track and monitor.
Great.
And are those going to be exclusively remote roles, or are they going to be accessing this building or doing something here?
Some of them will be accessing the building. Others will be primarily remote, except for cases when we need to have structured meetings in person. So yeah, a lot of it is able to be done remotely and supported remotely. In fact, we can probably have some members, depending upon the committee. Obviously, if you're volunteering to set up the production studio, that's not going to be something you can do remotely. But if you're looking to help support the programming committee, that is something that if we set it up appropriately to work together, it can be done remotely as well.
And the follow-up question that is that we have this space now. We've had it for a little while now. And of course, if folks who have not been here, the rooms is just we are using basically for storage. But is there something that would be possible in some sort of near future to have, for instance, the folks that do the radio shows to be able to come over here to record the episodes, or the folks that do the video production to eventually be able to either rent equipment or to access the facility for that. Do you have any idea how we could structure that, or is that something that is part of the volunteers that we're going to be thinking about doing?
Yeah, we can talk about that more. I'm happy to talk about that more offline after the meeting today to talk about more details. But right now, it's very flexible and up in the air, and I'm definitely very open to suggestions from my fellow board members or members of the community if they wanted to reach out to me. I'm very open for input into how we can move forward with our volunteers, both the committees and for the specific staff roles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just curious about optimizing the physical space that we have, and even for the purpose of the county understanding that the space that they provided us are not just being used by storage, but that we are using for the mission of the organization. Yeah.
Cool. Any further discussion on this matter from the board? Cool. Okay. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Appreciate also all of the work that I know is being done to put together that structure and those roles, and I'm really thankful for your experience and expertise in doing that. The annual meeting is our next topic of discussion that has officially finally been scheduled for our Sunday, October 27th, which will be in the Black Box Theater, and that will be at 1 p.m. We'll have the annual meeting of members, and then go straight into the annual board meeting. At that annual meeting of members, there will be the elections for the new board term, and it's going to be kind of a kooky one this year because the whole situation with groups that's meant to have staggered board members, it has been put up in the air with vacancies and everything. So myself and Jim Thorne, who are the only two board members not up for election or seeking a role that is not a filling a vacancy seat type of role, he and I will be running that election similarly to the way we did it last year with the Google Forms and kind of automatic telling and everything. So keep an eye out for emails about that, and also the opportunity to make sure that your membership is up to date and dues are paid by the appropriate deadline in Reshare, so that you can take advantage of your member right to vote, should that be your case. So yeah, mark your calendar, October 27th in the Black Box Theater at 3700 South 4 Mile Run Drive. On that note, I would like to also introduce a motion because of scheduling things related to this building. We were not able to get that meeting scheduled until like last week, and the bylaws lays out the sort of timeline for the elections process where people need to submit their nomination materials to me by a certain date, and then I need to send that packet out to members along with other materials for the annual meeting by a certain date. And right now, the bylaws, per the bylaws, that deadline for board nomination forms is Thursday, September 12th, which is 2 days from now, and that is not enough time. So I would like to introduce a motion to adjust this year's deadline for board candidates to submit their nomination forms from September 12th to September 30th, 2024. And I'd like to note that this would only affect this year's election process and not any future board elections. This is just to give people more time to consider candidacy for a seat on the board, and to make that just a more accessible thing for people, given the circumstances this year. Is there any questions or discussion from the board that should be had before we talk about seconding and voting? No? Okay. Well, I move. Does anyone want to second?
I second.
Stack seconds. Thank you so much. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I
Aye.
Fabulous. The ayes have it. And as a result, the motion passes. Great. Okay. And I will make sure that we get that nomination form. I know a lot of you should have received a message about the call for nominations. So you'll get that form via the MailChimp newsletter as ASAP as possible with that date on there. Okay, sweet. We have, okay. We have an item for any next steps and action items. Is there anything that anybody wants to discuss in there?
I guess I would just like to say that I would encourage the entire membership to just think about the people in your community who maybe are not a part of AIM, and if they could be cajoled into considering becoming a board member or joining AIM. We would love to have them. They're your community and you know them best. And I think we all need to start thinking that way. Who are the great people that we want to hang out with, and how can we get them to come and be a part of AIM? And so I'm putting that out there for everybody. It's not just the board who needs to work on this. We all need to come together and try to get more people here.
Yeah. anybody who has experience in nonprofit stuff, as well as community media, as well as any kind of media, TV and radio production kinds of things. People with deep pockets, people who are lawyers, people who just care about the Arlington community and care about, opportunities for people to raise their voice. All hands on deck is the name of the game. Okay.
One other thing is that AIM is going to be at Causes and Cocktails on October 22nd, trying to get ourselves back out there and perhaps get some donations. We would like for, is it invite only, Jennifer? How does it work?
No, I think it's open and free to the public. I've got some communications that I'm going to work with Jeff to send around to the communities so they can come and join us and listen to what we've got for our organization as a spotlight organization, as well as learning more about the other volunteer organizations that are a member of the Volunteer Arlington community. So, yeah.
And I'll be there manning the table, and we could, if anybody wants to come and hang out and talk about AIM, that'd be terrific.
Hello there. All right. Well, that takes us into the time for public comment. Hef, I know you had your hand raised earlier, so I'll happily kick it to you.
Okay, I've accumulated no comments, just 5 questions. There was a mention of a tentative October 15th live streaming date. Does that include both video and audio?
At this time, it is audio only.
And I won't be producing any video for it. I'll just keep producing audio.
Yeah.
I know that.
Sorry
Okay.
about that. Yes, it's video or radio right now.
I can do both. Let's see. There was a mention of something about the website is down for AIM, and then something about WERA being up. But is that just the website?
Yeah, AIM's website, which is www.arlingtonmedia.org, is currently down, but WERA's website, which is wera.fm, that's still normal, still okay.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that was the case, but I'd say questions. Let's see. The December deadline for the storage in North Arlington is sooner than we would like to think. Are we going to be seeking an extension for that space, or am I going to have to shell out more money to move everything again?
I did not have a full conversation, but it did come up in a conversation with Mr. Carantonis, our liaison for the county board.
Yeah.
He would like to figure out if we can get an extension, and so he is looking into that. I don't have any more information than that right now.
We got a little while yet. It would be nice to have more than a week's notice this time.
Sure. And thank you for keeping an eye on it, because as I said in the meeting last night, it's really great to have so many people making sure that we don't lose threads.
Yeah. Let's see. AIM's YouTube channel, is that still unavailable for video producers to provide content?
It's one of the things that is going to be a next priority for me to look more into. YouTube is definitely not straightforward when it comes to an organization that has a channel. So I need to provide, we need to think through, if we're going forward with it, what the guidelines are that we have to provide to the producers, who's going to oversee it. So there's a lot of decisions that need to be made. I've been focused on getting the audio going first, just because I need to be able to focus, energies in certain areas. But I am, still hearing you guys, and this is definitely on the list of things for the recovery committee to look at and look into more and provide more substantial comments as we move along. But I think first we want to just focus on getting our streaming up and going, and making sure that we're making forward progress with the FM broadcast, because we've got a very specific timeline that we have to work towards for that. But we're not losing the thread that we've got an existing platform that we just need to provide structure on how we're going to, if we can use it, and how that would look. So more coming on that. I know this is something that's been brought up for a while now. We're not ignoring it. It's just there's a lot that needs to be done.
Okay, let's see. I've set up channels for other people, and I'm not quite sure well, anyway, I suppose you're also hamstrung by bylaws and things like that, so we'll leave that alone. Last thing I've got is, I know that Michael Shea, longtime AIM producer, had been planning on buttonholing some county board members at the county fair, but he got waylaid. And I know that AIM decided not to have a booth. Did anybody on the board talk to anybody on the county board at the Arlington County Fair?
I was out of town, so I was not able to enjoy the fair at all.
A lot of nothings. It's okay. I mean, I was 60 miles away, and again, as a non-voting member and not a board member, I have zero influence. As I say, just hoping that someone would be there. Also for the public being there, being aware that there still is an Arlington independent media. But I guess this other thing in October I suppose there are more money people there, so that might be good. All right, that's all I got.
I have a question. Are you the gentleman who said that lives, I think Hagerstown, and you were thinking about there is a possibility of converting our current media into digital?
Archival stuff.
Yeah, that was me. I was immediately, I'm forgetting who it was that threw a wet blanket on that by pointing out that I would have to have insurance and so on, like I didn't know that as a homeowner. I don't know.
No, I think that just quick comment on the YouTube channel on my view, is that one issue that besides any legal requirements, one of the main issues that I see is that a person subscribes to a YouTube channel and with the expectation of receiving or certain content. So therefore, if I go and subscribe to say a Mr. Beast, I am expected to see Mr. Beast content, and I have a general understanding of what is to expected. And my concern is that for the AIM, a wholesale AIM channel, is that it would have contents from different producers, and therefore it would be detrimental for the channel success.
That would be no different than what AIM had when they were broadcasting.
That
I can
exactly the same.
Uh-huh.
I can speak to that. I've actually worked with one of PBS's YouTube channels. I was producing a Science Explainer series for them, and basically they had a similar kind of model where different shows were hosted by different people and produced by different production companies, and it required a lot of oversight from producers at PBS to be interfacing with my director and my producer, to make sure that like certain brand standards and stuff were adhered to, and licensing, and the kinds of things that you have to worry about when you're thinking about streaming, but also broadcast, and making content for the same thing. So it's definitely something that other organizations have done. It just requires a lot of a lift, the kind of lift that Jennifer is working hard to put together, and the kind of lift that, should the recovery committee be able to establish those kinds of guidelines and kinds of things. I totally hear your point. And personally, as a lover of YouTube, would love to see something like that down the road, as an individual. But what I'm here to say is, it takes more effort and thought than just upload. And I hope that, that is a viable option for AIM, not for me to decide right at the second. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
At the same time,
Mhm.
contrary way.
I still have my 1988 producer's handbook, and all of those constraints are already explicitly stated there, the way it was done. YouTube, you would need to have, as with AIM, you'd need to have someone in charge of making sure the content was there. I could do that remotely, because you just upload it for my access. I could review it. I'm somewhat familiar with the guidelines. That's one of the few things that I can do from up here. Anyway, so that's more than enough from me. This is me volunteering to help, even though I'm kind of a pain about it. I better be quiet from here on out.
No, and actually, kind of contrary in a way to what I said, building the bridge to my observation that you had the interest in digitalizing some of the content that we have, is that perhaps in one of the channels, or perhaps the AIM channel, whatever, one thing that could be hosted there eventually are some of the highlights of our productions from over the years.
I've already done it.
What's that?
I've already done it.
You already done it?
On news, I would include retrospectives.
Right. And because I think with the understanding that the organization maybe, and actually with the certain understanding that the organization needs to be looking beyond the county for funding, we need to be able to tell our story. And our story also is the history of our content production for the past 3 decades. And
I think I sent Claire something about that a few months ago.
Mm-hmm. Because it'll be nice. Like if I go to YouTube, or if I Google AIM and try to see what we've done, I maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I can't see that. I can't see, many examples. There are one or other. There's one or another, but I'm sure there was a lot of content that has been created in the past 3 decades that we can be, if we don't have that in a digital format yet.
What's your email address? I'll send you the link. The work's been done.
That's good.
Just give me your email address. I'll send you the link to the video.
That's wonderful. Which is dan@danrigo.com. Very easy.
Can you say that slowly so I can write it down?
Sure. It's Dan, D-A-N, at Dan, D-A-N, REGO.com.
REGO.com.
Because
Okay, I'll send
perhaps,
you some links to some of the
it could be
records that do.
something that we could, at least to populate a YouTube channel. I'm not just saying that's the main channel, but so people can go and see what has been done in the past. Anyway.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jeff. Are there any other comments, questions, public thoughts, vibes?
I apologize. Just a final comment that I really appreciate that the board will be and for the staff members to understand that we care about them, and we are not taking lightly the fact that there are wages that we still owe them, and we are working with, despite of our limited resources, human capital resources, we are trying our best to address that situation and to provide some sort of plan for the amounts due to be hopefully paid.
Yep, I totally second that, and I'm thankful for Amanda's communication with Takis and the county board to be able to figure out what our options are, and working on all that. Yeah, I totally second your comment there, Dan. We're taking this really seriously and want to do the right thing. Any further comments, questions, concerns from the public? Because if not, we will adjourn the meeting. Hearing none. All right, well, 7:51 p.m. Thank you all so much for your participation, and look forward to information about elections, board nominations, and annual meeting shenanigans from me soon. Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Stop.